Black Myth, Wukong is entering its next stage, and the scale of what's coming appears significant, like a truly big reveal is about to happen. A reveal that's been worked on for a long while now, and we're finally here. The developers at Game Science have confirmed they will be present at Gamescom Opening Night Live on August 19th. They have not publicly used the word DLC, but based on timing, new leaks, community expectations, and industry patterns, it is increasingly likely that this is the venue where we will see the first major expansion revealed. Not just a little DLC, but a full-blown DLC that feels like a completely new game, also being made to bring in new players. The post-launch period for Black Myth has been marked by a deliberate absence of minor promotional beats. For months, the studio has shared nothing about new content, updates, or upcoming features. That silence now seems intentional, a decision to reserve the spotlight for a larger, more substantial announcement rather than fragment the conversation with incremental news. This approach is less common in today's industry, where developers often maintain a constant marketing cycle to sustain engagement. Game Science appears more interested in ensuring the next reveal has weight. Some players will already have encountered the circulating leaked footage online. It depicts an underwater setting, a large serpent-like creature, and environments distinct from those seen in the base game. Several analysts and experienced modders have stated that the footage is almost certainly not authentic. Certain animations appear inconsistent with the studio's usual polish, and some environmental details resemble assets from unrelated sources. Even so, the concepts in that video, new submerged regions, large-scale aquatic bosses, are entirely plausible within the game's framework and the mythological source material. Journey to the West, the 16th century novel that inspires Black Myth Wukong, contains multiple encounters in aquatic realms. These include visits to the palaces of the Dragon Kings, rulers of the seas who possess vast treasures and supernatural power. Each Dragon King governs one of the four seas, corresponding to cardinal directions, and their courts are often depicted as opulent halls made of coral, pearls, and crystal. Such environments could offer a distinct tonal shift from the base game's landscapes. Rather than retextured terrain, they would introduce new movement dynamics, altered combat conditions, and a different soundscape. The challenge for the designers would be to adapt the game's precise timing-based combat to a space where vertical movement, environmental hazards, and limited visibility all play a role. Reliable sources in the Chinese development community suggest that Game Science has explored post-launch content that functions as a continuation of Wukong's journey rather than an isolated side story. This includes entirely new regions with their own narrative arcs, NPCs, and progression systems. The intention, according to one source, is to give returning players the sense of a second chapter, a self-contained but connected extension of the main story. In terms of adversaries, two possibilities are consistently discussed in speculation threads. The nine-headed insect is a shape-shifting creature from the novel, known for its speed, cunning, and unpredictability. It is capable of concealing its true form and striking from unexpected angles, traits that would translate naturally into a multi-phase boss encounter. The other possibility is a Hydra-like serpent rooted in East Asian folklore, capable of attacking from multiple angles and forcing spatial awareness in an open aquatic arena. This continued interest comes down to more than just the quality of the launch version. It comes from how Game Science approached development. From the outset, their focus was on making a game for the player. Black Myth feels like it was built to be played, explored, and mastered, not simply consumed and discarded. The combat is demanding but fair, the world is rich with cultural detail, and the story is told without compromise. There was no obvious pressure to shape it to current market fads or trending safe formulas. That's why it connected so strongly, because it felt authentic. Players could sense that the priority wasn't following an agenda, padding out engagement metrics, or squeezing microtransactions into every corner. The game feels like it was made by a team whose first question was always, what will make this better for the player? That mindset is not only rare, but it's also why so many people trust that whatever comes next will be worth their attention. The main game's transformation system could also see expansion. In Black Myth, Wukong's ability to take on other forms was one of the most distinctive mechanics, but its applications were limited to specific situations. A DLC set in aquatic regions could introduce transformations designed for mobility in water, environmental manipulation, or even control over battlefield elements like currents and tides. This would add not just variety but also strategic depth, forcing players to rethink how they approach certain encounters. From a mechanical standpoint, underwater combat presents unique design challenges. Many action games avoid it entirely because slower movement can make encounters feel less responsive. But in a game like Black Myth, where precision is already key, adapting the combat for a different medium could provide a fresh kind of challenge without abandoning the game's core identity. Time dodges, parries, and positional play could all be reimagined with buoyancy, drag, and shifting terrain in mind. One of the defining characteristics of Black Myth's success is that it was not shaped to conform to prevailing Western market trends. Game Science developed a game deeply rooted in its own cultural heritage, with combat that demands mastery, art direction informed by classical Chinese aesthetics, and storytelling that draws directly from local mythology. It did not dilute these elements in an attempt to cater to the broadest possible audience. This decision carried risk but ultimately paid off, resonating with players worldwide who were looking for something distinctive. The studio's willingness to maintain this identity will be tested in how it handles post-launch expansions. It is easy for studios to compromise when seeking to appeal to a wider audience after initial success. If Game Science maintains its design philosophy, the DLC could reinforce the sense that this is a studio with a long-term vision, not simply responding to market pressure. The decision to present at Gamescom, one of the most visible events in the gaming calendar, indicates that Game Science understands the global interest in their work. This is not a low-profile update for an existing player base. It is an opportunity to re-enter the conversation on an international stage. Given the size of the event's audience, the most likely format will be a cinematic reveal to establish tone and theme, followed by curated gameplay segments showing the new biome, enemy types, and possibly a boss encounter. It would also be an appropriate time to share a release window and confirm supported platforms. If the DLC delivers on the potential suggested by the base game, it would deepen the world building, demonstrate that the team can expand the scope without losing focus, and set the stage for future projects. Black Myth already proved that a game outside of the traditional Western machine can capture global attention through craftsmanship and cultural specificity. A well-received expansion would further establish Game Science as a studio capable of sustaining that success over multiple releases. August 19th will provide clarity. Whether the reveal matches the scale of current expectations will depend on how far the expansion pushes beyond new environments and enemies, but given the studio's track record, there is reason to believe that this announcement will be more than a routine content update. It may instead mark the moment Black Myth moves from a breakout release to a long-term presence in the industry. And if the speculation around aquatic realms, mythological sea kings, and multi-phase monstrosities proves accurate, we could be looking at an expansion that doesn't just extend the life of Black Myth, but meaningfully evolves it. For a game built on ambition and cultural pride, that would be a fitting next step.